Jeff Cranford here again with you, and we're in Northern Ireland as we were last week, back on this bus, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what it means for you to walk into your spiritual destiny, not just be saved. A lot of people come out of Egypt, they get baptized. In fact, Paul said they were baptized into Moses and into the sea. You were baptized. It's a picture of your baptism. So you come out of your land of slavery, of sin. Jesus brings you out by the blood of the Lamb in Exodus 12, applying Jesus' blood to your life. You go through your baptism, and then you go into your discipleship process. The point is, you shouldn't stay in the wilderness forever. There's a time where you actually have to cross over the Jordan. And again, as we talked about last week, walk into your spiritual destiny. Now, how can you do that? Well, we saw last week, take the territory, every place. Now, remember, this takes courage. These were amazing spiritual enemies. They were literal enemies for Israel, and they're spiritual enemies for us. Very powerful enemies. And so what happens is we've kind of seen the courageous warrior take some courage to cross over the Jordan. You say, well, I don't know if I'm that courageous person. Well, maybe you are a little bit, as we see in Joshua chapter 2, someone who is a sympathetic partner. I'm calling this the other people that emerge, and maybe you're one of those people. You're at a club and you say, I don't know that I know that much about the Bible. I'm not sure I could teach or facilitate, but you could be a sympathetic partner and aid the development of a fellowship. Oops, we hit a little Irish bump there. Aid the very progression of the Links Club, the Links Fellowship at your club. This is an extraordinary story. There was a gal named Rahab. Rahab was a sympathetic partner to Israel. They had heard about it. She didn't know a whole lot about God, the God of these Israelites, but she feared this God. Maybe that's you. You know, it takes a lot of sympathetic partners to facilitate a fellowship. I've been in a lot of these clubs through the years. And you'll have maybe a leader, a courageous warrior. We're going to take all this territory. But then you need all kinds of people who are just willing to invite another gal or another guy to your fellowship. Just someone to invite someone. Somebody to go set up the chairs. Somebody to maybe keep contact with the different folks and say, hey, look, I have a little bit of technical skill. Well, Rahab had that. And listen to what it says in Joshua chapter 2. And she says, now therefore, please swear to me by the Lord, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you will deal kindly with my father's household and give me a pledge of truth and spare my father and mother. And she's saying, look, I just want to be part of what you are. Will you then bless me and not conquer me? Could I be part of this too? One of the most amazing things in all of Scripture is in Matthew chapter 1, and actually a genealogy leading to Jesus. And did you know this Rahab, who was a harlot? You say, well, I can't do this. I didn't go to seminary. I'm a bad guy. You don't know the road I've been down. Well, Rahab was a harlot. And you say, well, how could she even be included in this moral book called the Bible? What's fascinating is Rahab becomes part of the lineage leading to Jesus. If you can imagine, Boaz, and by Rahab, by Salmon has Boaz by Rahab, who then just a couple generations later leads to King David. Can you imagine that? Being included, she was a sympathetic partner, and she walks into the destiny to even be included in the New Testament some 12 to 1500 years later. A lot of people think, well, again, I don't know enough of the Bible. Look, maybe you're just a sympathetic partner. Maybe there's a leader that emerges at your club, and you say, I'm going to do everything I can to partner with that person and help facilitate this group. And I can tell you from 20 plus years of experience, without the sympathetic partner, the fellowships don't flourish. You can have the greatest teacher facilitator. You can have somebody that knows everything that's ever been written in the book, plus everything behind it. They will not advance without some sympathetic partner. So maybe you find yourself as that sympathetic partner. And again, maybe you'll be written into God's plan someday, is that you stand before the Lord and He says, oh, you played that role. So hopefully that gives you some insight a little bit about a role you could play without having to maybe know the Bible as well as somebody else, but you play that role. So we'll continue this as we travel along here in Northern Ireland, thinking the kind of the home of golf. We'll be thinking about this over the next 2 weeks, and we'll expose even a little bit more about maybe a role that you can